Very good evening and welcome to The World Now at 4 on Hills TV. I am Uduak Daniel. First, let's talk the headlines. On the headlines, Nigeria reaffirms commitment to sustain democracy. Still on the headlines, Ghana, Burkina Faso and Togo participate in the Abidjan Border Forum. Also on the headlines, Rishi Sunak urged to raise defense spending. And on sports, Tottenham's boss hits out at VAR, that is the VAR, for disallowed win. And now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari has reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to stabilize the country's democratic system. President Buhari said this on Thursday in Seoul, South Korea, during his meeting with the Speaker of the National Assembly of the Republic of Korea, Kim Jin-pyong, on the sidelines of the World Bio Summit 2022. The president declared that the successes achieved in the recent off-season elections in Anambra, Ekiti and Osun states confirmed that the people of Nigeria have approved of the democratic form of government. According to Newsman, the Nigerian leader praised the introduction of technology, especially the use of permanent voters' cards, that is the PVCs, for its eventual success at the polls, while noting that the diversities introduced by the colonial history of Nigeria, unlike in Korea, have not made governance easy. He described the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding, that is the MOU, between the NNPC Limited and the Wood Group for the rehabilitation of the Kaduna refinery, which took place shortly before the president visited the parliament, as very significant. The Nigerian president, who noted that technology transfer is not easy, expressed appreciation to the Korean government for its generosity in the rehabilitation of both Kaduna and Warri refineries. He also commended the resourcefulness of the Korean shipping industry and thanked the host government's assistance towards the rehabilitation of Nigeria's infrastructure, describing it as crucial. Financial crimes. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, that is the EFCC, has rearranged suspended Accountant General of the Federation, that is the AGF, Ahmed Idris, and 3 others before a federal capital territory high court in Maitama over an alleged 109.5 billion naira fraud. They were first arraigned on July 22 before a vacation judge, Justice Adeyemi Ajayi, on a 13-count charge bordering on misappropriation of 109.5 billion naira. However, upon the resumption of the courts, the case was transferred to Justice Yusuf Halilu. They all pleaded not guilty to the charge preferred against them. Following their not guilty pleas, Uche San prayed the court to allow the defendants to continue to enjoy the earlier bail granted them by the courts on July 28. He submitted that they have been complying with their bail conditions. The EFCC counsel Oluwaleke Atolagbe did not object to the application. He, however, left the decision to the courts to exercise its discretion. Ruling on the application, Justice Alilu held that bail is a constitutional right of a defendant. He, however, directed that defendants submit their passports to the country's and the court's registrar. Justice Alilu adjourned the case until November 23 for hearing. To other matters, a Nigerian father, Confidence Amatobi, has allegedly broken the right arm of his 2-month-old baby son, Miracle, with hanger for disturbing his sleep in Imo State. The National Human Rights Commission, that is the NHRC, said the Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, that is the NAWOJ, NAWOJ, Imo State chapter, have called on the Imo State government and the Nigeria Police Force, that is the NPF, to immediately arrest and prosecute Amatobi for allegedly assaulting his 2-month-old baby. Amatobi was said to have assaulted little Miracle with a plastic hanger, which led to the amputation of the fractured arm at the pediatrics ward of the Federal Medical Center, that is the FMC Owerri. NAWOJ, NHRC, and the aggrieved mother of baby Miracle made a call for justice in Owerri, the Imo State capital. Imo State chairperson of NAWOJ, that is the NAWOJ, Dorothy Naji, who spoke to newsmen after visiting the amputated boy at the Federal Medical Center, that is the FMC Owerri, confirmed that the injury inflicted by the 31-year-old father, a native of Umurie in Isu local government area of the state, led to the amputation of the little boy's right hand.
According to the functions of the mandate of the Commission, I call upon the law enforcement agency to do justice to this matter by making sure that the father, whom they told us that he is at large, is being searched for and apprehended.
According to the mother, when he noticed the baby's hand was broken, he used a wooden elastic band to tie the baby's hand, adding that he locked her and the baby for 2 days to prevent them from taking and talking to neighbors or seeking help.
I have to excuse myself to go and ease myself, and he was crying. So, unknowing to me, when I left outside, I went outside and come inside. He was crying on top of his bed. For me to come inside, and I found out that he was beating the baby, and by then he has already broken his hand. This is joint here. So when he did it, he said in a car he took stick and rubber, tied it and said that two will join together. It's his baby bone. That it's not going to take time for it to join. Okay, and he threatened me not to tell anybody about it. And I said, okay, based on the threatening he gave to me. Then when he was going out, he locked me inside.
Chi Edozie Mbalewe, orthopedic surgeon FMC Owerri, also commented on the need for the surgery.
They are right to cry at that age. So I just advise that, parents should show love, show understanding to their children.
When we return, news from other parts of Africa. Don't go away. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Strengthening Border Security in Ghana, that is the SBS Ghana project, sponsored a 10-member delegation from Ghana, Burkina Faso and Togo to participate in the first edition of the Abidjan Border Forum, that is the ABF. According to Newsband, the ABF is an initiative of the Executive Secretariat of the National Border Commission of Côte d'Ivoire, that is the CNFCI, which seeks to address issues related to border governance in Africa. The Abidjan Border Forum, that is the ABF, pivotal to the ongoings on border management and security within the sub-region, shares a similar objective with one of the key results of the SBS Ghana project, which is centered on regional cooperation. It was gathered that the result of the meeting seeks to foster closer collaboration with counterparts in neighboring countries to enhance the exchange of data and information between border control authorities and reduce irregular migration, smuggling of goods and other cross-border crimes within the framework of the ECOWAS Free Movement Protocol. According to Newsman, it was stated that part of efforts to promote regional cooperation and coordination, the Strengthening Border Security, that is the SBS, signed a 12-point communique which proposed policy solutions to strengthen coordination and cooperation at the operation level in cross-border areas and discuss security and cross-border cooperation issues. And now let's take you to South Africa. South African presidency has moved to assure South Africans that law enforcement agencies are monitoring any threats to the public. According to Newsman, the assurance was made after the Embassy of the United States of America, that is the USA, issued a security alert to its citizens in South Africa that terrorists may be planning to conduct an attack targeting large gatherings of people in Sandton, an area of Johannesburg. In a statement, the presidency said it noted the alert, stating that the South African government has noted the terror alert issued by the U.S. Embassy on its website, and it is the responsibility of South African security forces to ensure that all people within our country feel safe. We now move to other parts of the world after this break. Stay with us. You're still watching The World Now at 4 on Hills TV, and let's get on to the stories. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has been urged to raise UK defence spending by a key Eastern European ally. Estonia, which borders Russia, has hosted British troops on rotation for years. Its Foreign Minister Urmas Reinsalu told the media it was vital all NATO countries spend 3% of gross domestic products, that is GDP, on defence. Mr. Sunak was not matched the pledge set by predecessor Liz Truss to meet that target by 2030. The new Prime Minister, who replaced Ms. Truss in Downing Street this week, has previously described such targets as arbitrary. However, he also said that he believed in investing in our armed forces during his campaign to be Tory leader over the summer. The UK currently spends just over 2% of GDP, a measure of the size of the economy, a year on defense. Taking you now to China, legislation aimed at giving women in China more protection against gender discrimination and sexual harassment at work was submitted to China's parliament on Thursday after a third revision and extensive public input. The revised legislation comes as activities expressed concern about increasing government rhetoric on the value traditional women's roles and what some see as setbacks for women's rights and more restrictive attitudes towards abortion. But it is not clear to what extent those more conservative attitudes will be reflected in the revised law. The draft Women's Right and Interest Protection Law was submitted to the Standing Committee on National People's Congress, that is the NPC, the official Xinhua news agency had said. And now let's quickly take you on a journey to business as we come in a short bit, just to let you know that this is The World Now at 4 on Hills TV. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Still talking business right there. Israel and Lebanon have officially approved a historic United States brokered agreement laying out their maritime boundary for the first time, which opens up the possibility for both countries to conduct offshore energy exploration. Lebanon's President Michael Aoun signed a letter at the presidential palace on Thursday morning that will be submitted to U.S. officials at Lebanon's southmost border point of Nakora later in the day. Top Lebanese negotiator Elias Bou Saab said the deal, which ends a long-running maritime border dispute in the gas-rich Mediterranean Sea, marks the beginning of a new era. Israel's government also ratified the agreement on Thursday, a statement from Prime Minister Yair Lapid's office said. Lapid said the deal was a political achievement for Tel Aviv, as it is not every day that an enemy state recognizes the state of Israel in a written agreement in front of the entire international community. And now let's get on to sports coming right up next on The World Now at 4. Stay with us.
Good evening and welcome to Sports News and World Now at 4. I am Daniel Obasi. Starting off with Formula One, where Lewis Hamilton expects Mercedes to end the 2022 Formula One season winless, despite having come agonizingly close to sealing victory at the United States Grand Prix. Having acquired a very closely appointments campaign following the introduction of the new design regulations and saw their 8-year streak of Constructors' Championship officially ending on Sunday as Red Bull added the title to Max Verstappen's second successive driver's crown. After an encouraging display starting in Mexico this weekend has also been a topic of discussion, but the 7-time world champion is confident. And away from Formula One now to football, where Barcelona have crashed out of the UEFA Champions League again after Inter Milan beat Victoria Pleasant at the San Siro before the kickoff at Camp Nou, ensuring Barcelona would drop into the Europa League again despite their lavish summer spending on Robert Lewandowski, Jules Koundé, Rafinha and other players, with the club 1.3 billion euros spent on these players. Barcelona president Joan Laporta put that the summer signing had been despite until the very time they have been expected that they would lose a good amount of money dropping into the Europa League. A lot of fans have expressed their disappointment towards the game yesterday at the Camp Nou, where they lost to Bayern Munich by 3-0. And away still talking football, Tottenham Hotspur have been in contention, saying they have looked their goal being disallowed in the 95th minute after the goal being scored by Harry Kane. This puts Antonio Conte's side in a tough decision after going into the 1-1 draw against Sporting Lisbon at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Antonio Conte, who got a red card in that game, showed his displeasure after the goal in the 95th minute by Harry Kane was disallowed after a VAR review. Tottenham would now have to slug it out after going up against Marseille away from home, and that would either mean they would qualify for the last 16. And that's sports news on World Now at 4. Back to Uduak Daniel for the rest of the news.